How to Live and Pray in the Divine Will as taught by the servant of God, Luisa Picaretta. It is hoped that newcomers to this spirituality will find in these lessons a means of embracing and understanding Jesus' invitation to live in the kingdom of the divine will. A little at a time. Jesus said to Luisa, "Promise to be faithful to me and I shall pour into you many graces that will cause you to marvel. I have great designs on you, but only if you correspond and conform to my will. I shall delight in making you a perfect image of me. You shall imitate me from my birth to my death. Do not have any doubt about succeeding, because I will teach you how it can be done a little at a time." Book of Heaven Volume 1. The purpose of the gift of the divine will. The purpose of the gift of the divine will is to allow God to receive perfect glory from the whole human family, i.e. from Adam to the last person to be created. Perfect reparation is the primary work of the gift. From the moment he was created, Adam could give God a perfect return of love and glory in everything, all of the time, because he possessed the gift of the divine will. At the fall, Adam lost this gift and was then able to correspond to God with only his limited human capacity, not with the unlimited capacity of the divine will which he previously enjoyed. For Jesus told Luisa that when he created Adam he placed within Adam's human will the divine will. The divine will resided there only because Adam consented to this, allowing himself to be animated by God in every way, his thoughts, words, glances, steps, movements, breaths and heartbeats etc. For this reason all of Adam's acts were of a divine order because he was consenting to letting the divinity do everything within him. It is because the divinity was doing everything in him that Adam's acts were perfect, thereby giving perfect glory and perfect correspondence of love to his Creator. This does not imply a lack of free will on the part of Adam. Instead, Adam was continuously consenting to giving the divinity the freedom to operate in him in this way. The human will is presented by Jesus as an empty glass in which the waters of the divine will reside. This was intended by God to be the permanent condition of man. The human will was not created to be isolated from the divine will. Up until the fall, the divine will operated in every aspect of Adam's being. With the gift of free will Adam could empty himself, at any time, of this divine capacity to glorify God perfectly. In fact, he did empty himself of this gift when he took the forbidden fruit. This does not mean that Adam was made divine. He was always a creature, but a creature consenting to letting the Creator animate him in every respect. The saints and the gift of the divine will. A frequently asked question is, but didn't the saints possess the gift of the divine will? The answer is, no. Until now, the saints have been able only to align themselves to God's will, i.e. as they became more aware of what God wanted them to do and how He wanted them to be in their daily lives, they corresponded as best they could to His will. However, the gift of the divine will is not only about doing God's will, but possessing God's will, i.e. letting God carry out His own will, Himself, within you through your consent. This is what Adam was doing up until the fall, and what Jesus did in His humanity throughout His whole life while on earth. Jesus points out that Luisa, who received the gift of the divine will on the 8th of September 1889, marks the beginning of the era of the kingdom of the divine will on earth. This gift is now available to everyone. How this gift was prophesied in the Scriptures. The first biblical prophecy can be found in Genesis chapter 3 verse 15. This prophecy was spoken by God to Satan. God prophesied the coming of a future Redeemer, the Messiah. The Jews prayed for the fulfillment of this prophecy and so Jesus came. Before leaving the earth Jesus gave another prophecy which He placed in the one prayer that He taught us, the Our Father. The prophecy is, "Thy kingdom come, Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." In other words, just as the saints in heaven possess the divine will with which to perfectly glorify God and correspond perfectly to His love, so have the Christian generations, on earth, been praying for this same will to be enjoyed on earth as it is in heaven. Thus, we have been praying for a return of our original capacity to perfectly correspond to our Creator. And this is why Jesus subtitled these writings, "The Recall of the Creature to the Order, Place and Purpose for which it was created by God." The Trinity and the Divine Will, the three persons of the Trinity, Father, Son and Holy Spirit, do not each possess their own separate wills consenting to one another's wishes. Instead, the three persons of the Trinity share the same one divine will. This is why there can only be agreement, peace, harmony etc., between them. By the powers of the one divine will the Father is able to direct all his infinite love to his Son, and by the same powers of the same one divine will, the Son is able to perfectly return this same infinite love to the Father. It was this same one divine will which Adam originally possessed in Eden prior to the fall, and which Jesus also possessed in his humanity throughout his earthly life. Thus Adam was able to correspond to God's love as was Jesus himself. One could say that the uncreated Son, Jesus, and the created Son, Adam, could perfectly correspond to the Father by the powers of that same one divine will which they both possessed. Jesus' prayer in John chapter 17. This prayer of Jesus is a threefold prayer. He prays first for himself, then for his disciples, and finally for all future disciples. It is in the final part of his prayer that Jesus makes this request of the Father, that they may be one with me, as I, Father, and you are one. As we have learned, the Trinity are not just good friends agreeing with one another but are one in the divine will. Thus, for each disciple to be one with Jesus, in the same way as Jesus is one with the Father, would require the disciple to also possess the same one divine will as Jesus and the Father. And this is what Jesus prayed for the night before he died. How to receive the gift of divine will. To receive the gift of the divine will one needs the desire to receive it, and to decide to no longer give life to one's own human will. Jesus said, "You do not need paths, nor doors, nor keys to enter into my divine will. To enter creatures need but remove the pebble of their own will. A soul has but to desire it and all is done. My will assumes all the work."
Volume 12. The 16th of February 1921.
It is important to remember that having desired the gift after deciding to sacrifice one's own will, that it is Jesus who does all the work. Only Jesus can do a divine act. We always remain creature. Golden rule: we desire it and Jesus does all the work. A lesson for life. Forget self. From the first moment a soul decides to embrace living in the divine will, she must learn to forget herself. Jesus says that there is only one way of achieving this, and that it must be practiced for the rest of your life. My daughter, in order for the soul to be able to forget herself, everything she does or has to do must be done as if I wanted to do it in her. If she prays, she should say, "It is Jesus who wants to pray, and I pray together with him." If she works, "It is Jesus who wants to work, it is Jesus who wants to walk, it is Jesus who wants to eat, who wants to sleep, who wants to get up, who wants to enjoy himself." And it should be like that in everything for the rest of her life, excluding errors. Only in this manner is the soul able to forget herself. For not only will she do everything because I want it, but, because I want to do it, she will need me.
Volume 11, the 14th of August 1912.
Everything should now be done with reference to Jesus because it is he who is doing everything within us, except error, i.e. sin. What if I sin? If we sin, we would lose the gift of the divine will. This is because we obviously cannot make Jesus sin. If we make a sincere act of contrition, then we can ask Jesus to return the gift to us, and he will do so. Jesus is yearning so much for us to always possess this gift that he gladly returns the gift to us. It is only through our having this gift that Jesus can ensure a perfect return of love and glory to the Father from within the creature. If our sin was of a serious nature, mortal sin, then we would first have to go to the sacrament of reconciliation, and then ask Jesus to return the gift to us. Did this material inspire you? You can find out more in part 2 of this video.